Hey guys, welcome back to another video, another truck talk video. I actually cleaned my truck out, so I'm actually sitting in it, which is kind of nice. A little bit in the shade. Luckily, it's not too hot. Want to chat about when you feel overwhelmed with your situation. A lot of people have been bringing this up lately, and it's understandable, especially with the current world situation. But this is basically talking about how we can get so fixated and focused on what's currently going on to where we lose sight of the long-term picture. I've had a few conversations in the last few weeks with people where that's a problem, to where you get so fixated on what's been done wrong to you, what's happening, the unfairness of it, and it just starts breaking you down. And it's weird because all of our situations are different, but they're also very similar in a lot of ways. And I think the underlying theme of this is the way you feel about it. That is what is similar. You know, my situation might be different than yours, but there's a pretty darn good chance that whatever you're feeling right now, I was feeling years ago on this. And a lot of it has to do with perspective. This is one reason why, and I know the Caleb Leverett video that I did creates a whole ton of controversy. Like every day there's a message on there either saying he's a scumbag or she's a scumbag. I mean, it's just whatever. And a lot of people miss the point of the reason why I did that video. The reason I did that video is because it was a story of a guy who'd gone through the ringer, was dealing with a situation that was really tough, and ended up even spending some time in jail, which is like most people's worst case scenario on this. At least I know it was for me. But he didn't give up. And I've talked to a lot of people who get to the point where they're ready, they feel like they've lost everything. And I can relate to that. You know, I have to be cautious of how I word it, but there were some pretty dark times. You know, and when I was actively going through court, well, even after court, even after all that stuff happened, the chaos didn't necessarily end. So you have to look at your situation in a bigger picture, not in the immediate. And okay, I'm talking in circles, so let me just kind of get to the point. What I'm trying to say is, if you're getting to the point where you feel like you've lost all hope, you're looking at it in this particular moment. You're looking at this situation right now, and your brain can't even fathom what the future is going to be. I know, I was there. I remember having those feelings. I remember feeling completely destroyed, felt like my life was ruined, everything that was important to me was taken away, my relationship with the kids was severely threatened, and you know, you just start questioning yourself. It's like, what's the point? Why even go on? What is, everything that was important is destroyed. What's the purpose to get to tomorrow? That's a tough one. I mean, the way I got through that was, and this wasn't easy, but the way I got through it was with anger and basically tenacity. Tenacity? I don't know if that's the right word. Let me know what word I'm trying to use in the comments below. Well, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay breathing on this damn planet to spite her, to spite you, right? I mean, that was my thought process. It's like, I knew she was trying to break me. She was trying to get me to give up. I knew the system was that way. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to hold on. And it wasn't easy. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't like every day was like, get up, yay, I'm good to go. There was a lot of days where I wasn't good to go. And that was how I processed it. I don't know how many times I've had conversations with people like this, and if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I've had that conversation, just know you're not the only one. Where people are just they're ready to give up. And it's like I have to basically kind of say, okay, take a step back, look at the scenario, and what's really going on? What's your worst case scenario, and what's the likelihood that that's actually going to happen? What would have to happen for that scenario to happen, right? And typically it is, I'm never going to see my kids again. And barring any type of problem to where there's a domestic violence order, protective order or something, where the courts feel that, oh my God, this is valid and we need to protect the children from this person, it's for the most part, it's unlikely. Okay, I get that some people on this channel have had that experience. But typically that results in a colossal loss in court, where you've made a mistake, or your ex has been able to spin it around, roll your words back around, and basically set a trap that you walk right through, and then are able to go, see, Other than that, it's not as common. So my point on this is that you have to look at the bigger picture, right? I see I'm torn as I'm talking about this, because I know how tough it is. I remember when I was in my dark days on this, just spiraling out of control, and nobody was really able to get through to me. I was just a complete mess. And what helped me was I was dealing with a great therapist. She finally, realizing that I was just, circling the toilet bowl, crashing down on the death spiral, so to speak, and mentioned, hey, your ex might be, I don't know, but, I can't diagnose her, but she might have NPD. And that kind of led me down this path to where I started getting answers and things started making sense. Just so you know, she's not diagnosed, so all I could do is what I recommend you guys do, is you look at the facts, you look at the pattern of behavior, and you say, is my situation mimic this? Because I'll tell you, here's the thing, the situations are freaking similar, and sometimes when I talk to people, I think they forget, especially lately, because I've been making more I'm getting farther away from this, so I'm not as tied into the negative emotions with all this. And to be perfectly honest, for anyone who's watched my older videos, I felt really weird about coming off happy talking about a crappy subject, right? So a lot of times I would really kind of tie into those past memories to try to kind of re-experience those feelings to try to be credible, because I can come here, if you guys didn't have the backlog of videos and information and stuff that I put out there, I could easily see how someone could look at this and go, oh, his situation's different than mine. He didn't have it that bad. Oh, he's got 50-50, so, his situation isn't like mine. And, okay, today, yeah, you're right, that situation has changed, but that doesn't change what was going on 9 years ago, 8 years ago, whenever the shenanigans were still going on, when I was reacting, when I was playing into that narcissistic game. Anyways, my point is, I get, a lot of times people will be like, I get this a lot. My story is the worst. My ex takes the cake. I get that a lot in emails, in coaching calls, in, just people I've worked with through this 4 years of this channel. And there are some that I will say might be a little worse, but it's all relatively the same. You know, the same crap, the same stupidness, the same controlling behavior, the same, you know, I've decided it's going to be this way type of bullshit. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. But my point is on this is that whenever you're feeling like you're losing hope, you got to take a break. Because I'll tell you, when you get in that mode, when you start getting in that circular do loop, it just keeps building on itself, building on itself, building on itself. It's like it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. It's going to get horrible. It's going to be catastrophic, and you just keep ballooning out all of these things. And this is the moment you're in is a incredibly difficult time. But it's a moment in time. And your ex is trying to break you. They want to snap you in half and cause you to jump off a cliff. That's their goal. They want to break you. They want to win. And because if they can destroy you and either make you go away or make you cease to exist, they absolutely win. They can then control the narrative. Then anybody that they try to explain it to is, oh, well, that person had emotional problems. And you're not there, you can't defend yourself. You can't defend yourself with your actions. All they're left with, even your children are left with, well, this happened. This thing happened. And you owe it to yourself to persevere through this and get to the other side. And I get it. Whenever your kids are super young and you know you're looking at 10, 12, 14 years left to go. When my thing started, I mean, I'm still in it. It was 12 years, right? I'm 9 years into it. I got 3 years left. And it was overwhelming. Looking at that sentence, so to speak, that prison sentence, it was overwhelming. It's like, how do you survive it? Here's the thing. When you find a way to circumvent the bull that your ex is doing, it's empowering. The problem is that they tend to use your kids in the process. Now, for the folks that I've counseled or coached, I guess coach is a better word for it, that have an outstanding relationship with their kids, it sucks, but they're okay. You know, it's going to be okay because the relationship hasn't been destroyed. Then there's the other side of the coin where you have people who the alienation has taken off. The kids hate the other parent, whether it's the mom or the dad, and they have such intense loyalty to the other parent and intense hatred, or not hatred, but I'm trying to think of the right word for it, towards the other parent. It's really tough. I was in that category. When I was growing up, I treated my dad like crap. I remember specifically having a conversation where I know he was just trying to save me from the chaos. And I remember telling him, you know, I will never live with you. You know, I will, you know, never, ever will I live with you. And I don't remember what the conversation was, but I remember just taking my little bony finger and sticking it in his eye. And I know he had to feel like a tiny version of his ex-wife was standing right there in his space, in his house or whatever, just driving that dagger right into his heart. And what I'll say on that is, even with that, right? I mean, I know I'm kind of getting a little off topic, but I just want to go down this point for a minute. When I was in that mode, I still wanted to have a relationship with my dad. I still wanted to love him. I still loved him, but I felt rejected by him. I believed the lies and the alienation that my mom was setting me up for, and she was a master at it. She was able to plant the seeds. She knew exactly what my dad was going to do, how he was going to react, how he was going to get angry, how he was going to lose his cool, because that was his personality type. She geared me up for it, so whenever it happened, I'm like, oh my God, she's right. He's a scumbag. Why is my dad a scumbag? You know, now I realize, I know it. I mean, I've lived his part of his life. The only difference is from my experience going through that, I'm like, oh my God, I know what happened. I know what he did wrong. And guys, it is freaking tough not to make mistakes. And I've made mistakes. It is really, really hard because you're doing it on blind faith. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this with no evidence that it's going to work. That's the way I started. So, you know, in a lot of ways, to be perfectly honest, when I talk to these other people who have outstanding relationships with their kids are just torn, they were in a better position than I was in when I started this, because my ex had convinced the kids that I was a scum, that it was my fault, that I was a, you know, angry person, because I did get angry, I did yell, I did scream, and I was under a constant, you know, I was under 20 years of freaking stress and constantly having my buttons pushed. So yeah, I was high strung. You know, it's taken me breaking out of that environment to calm myself down and realize I don't want to be any part of that anymore, and I've been able to separate from it. And when I finally started seeing success with the kids, it started getting better. Anyways, my point is, don't give up on this. You know, even if your situation looks like crap, really, you know, look at what is the outcome. You know, if you're dealing with somebody who's, let me back up. You know, if you have a good relationship with your kids and your ex has completely destroyed communications, is making it impossible, there's a high probability that when that kid gets old enough to start making their own decisions, you're probably going to be able to reconnect with them. It's easy to get really angry about the fact that you're even in that situation, but whatever. The other part about this is, let's say you're on the side where you have been just completely alienated, you know, and you feel like everything is lost. Is you got to rebaseline your life and look at things in a different way, and basically find something else to live for. You know, I mean, it's the equivalent to, you know, your whole family gets wiped out in a fiery car crash, which, to be perfectly honest, would be a hell of a lot easier than what all of us are going through. But it's along the same lines. The only difference is that potentially years down the road, you know, those people, I mean, your kids at least could come back in your life. Like I've come back in my dad's life. Again, we don't have the relationship that I would have liked to have had, but I'm so thankful that, you know, I'm thankful for what I have, right? I mean, it would have been worse if he would have passed away and I had all these realizations after he had passed. That would have sucked. But it didn't I mean, in my situation, it didn't happen. I know that's probably happened in some other people's stuff. Anyways, my point is, don't give up. Find the strength to keep going on. Give yourself a break. Take a break if you need to, you know, and look for resources that can help you. If you need to find a therapist, find a therapist. If you don't like that, you want to try the hypnosis files, try the hypnosis files. Try coaching. If your life has gone to shit and everything is falling apart, you owe it to yourself to try to find another way out of it. And to be perfectly honest, that was another thing that kept me getting through some of the days. It's like, okay, you know, everything is shit, but, you know, let me see what happens tomorrow. Let me see what happens tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow. And then now I'm in a situation to where, you know, there's still stress, there's still stuff that's going on, there's still stuff I'm not happy about, but my life is so much better than it was. And I see a future, and I have things I want to do, and I'm excited about. And I really believe that that's waiting for you too. That even if everything is a big pile of garbage right now, it won't be that way. And just to tell you guys, you know, I've had tons of people over and over again who started out in that pit of despair and have moved through this, and, you know, I don't want to be like, you know, this channel's help, but I mean, that have said that, you know, hey, you've saved my life. I mean, you've given me a different perspective to look at it, and I've been able to regain my life. It's just tough, man. All the stuff that these people put us through. And like I said earlier, it's just to try to break you. It's try to break your spirit and just use everything they can to win. And in a lot of ways, I don't even think it's about destroying you intentionally. I mean, it is intentional, but what I mean is like, it's about them. You know, it's not like they're doing this because they're trying to find a way to hurt you. It's they want to win, and it's whatever they have to do. They have no concept or empathy of what they're doing to you, to your kids, and to everyone else around. It's all about winning. They live in this ball of chaos that they can't escape from, and it just keeps perpetuating. The thing is we get to walk off we can walk off the crazy train and say, you can have your fun, and move on from that. Okay, I'm rambling. I hope this makes sense. Give me your thoughts on this before, and I hope that I'm not coming across negative or anything, because I hate it when I put those videos out, because I'm not. I guess I'm just frustrated because I feel empathy for the handful of folks that are going through this right now, that I'm actually talking to, and I know even more are going through that. So on that, try to have a good day, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.